तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। वंदे गुरोर्मंडलम। Shivoham. Welcome to the series of talks on Shiv Swarodaya. Shiv Swarodaya is an ancient Tantric text. It is in the form of dialogue between Lord Shiva and Ma Parvati. The benefits of this ancient science are not limited to spiritual growth but can also present the sadhak with immense material pleasures too. It demands a certain amount of discipline and dedication from the sadhak. So far, we have discussed 80 verses of this text. Therefore, if you are watching this one as your first video here, I request you to watch related videos from the beginning for better understanding. The link to the playlist is provided in the description box for your easy access. The verses that we will discuss today tell us about the effects of irregular or opposite flow of swars. I have covered in my previous lectures a great deal about the importance of swar during sunrise. Many aspects of Swar Yog are determined according to the flow of the morning swar. Which swar will be flowing during sunrise is determined according to the lunar dates or tithis. If you find it difficult to understand what is being discussed in this lecture, it simply means you have not understood the previous lectures. If you have any confusion here or don't know this term sunrise swar, please refer to previous lectures. I have explained everything in detail there. I am saying this in the beginning itself because in the next verses we will understand what will be the results of opposite sunrise swar. Further, I would like to add that you can understand and fully predict these results without any confusions only if you have achieved Ida Pingla balance, Nadi Shuddhi, Tattva Shuddhi and perfect morning swar. These verses will give you enough reasons to become an early riser. Do check your swar every morning at the time of sunrise if you really want to succeed in it. Let's now move to the subject. Let's understand about the effects of irregular or opposite flow of swars. The next verse, that is 81st verse, is a prefix to the succeeding verses and therefore it should be read along with them. Here I am taking 81st and 82nd verse together. In the upcoming verses also keep the reference of 81st shlok. It states, Yada pratyush kalena vipritodayo bhavet chandrasthane vahatyarko ravisthane cha chandramaha प्रथमे तु मनोद्वेगम धन हानिर द्वितीयके तृतीये गमनम प्रोक्तम ईष्टनाशनम चतुर्थके. It means if in the morning opposite swar rises, the following things are indicated. Opposite swar means instead of lunar swar the solar swar flows or instead of solar swar the lunar swar flows. During the first period, there will be mental conflict. In the second, there will be financial loss. In third, there will be travel. And on fourth, there will be destruction of dear things. On the first day, when the swar is reversed, mental tensions are indicated. If the second day also swar rising is not according to the cosmic rhythm, you may face financial loss. Although financial loss is bound to happen, but if you notice that your swar is incorrect for 2 days in a row, you should not make fresh investments to minimize and avoid losses. If the swar is reversed for third period, there are chances of travel. It needs to be kept in mind that travel invoked due to such swar conditions is not going to be a joy trip. Such a travel will be far from fruitful or for good reasons. If the swar is reversed for 4 days in a row, you may lose something that is very dear to you. The next verse, that is 83rd verse, states Panchame Rajya Vidhvansam Shashte Sarvarth Nashanam Saptame Vyadi Dukkhani Ashtame Mrityum Adishet. It means on the 5th day it is a fall down of state. On 6th day there is destruction of everything. On 7th day there is illness and pain, and on 8th day there is death. Now read this in conjunction with the 81st verse. The verse is explaining the results of reversed swar for number of days in a row. On the 5th day there is collapse of state. On individual level, it means destruction of a place, business, domain of domination that you consider as your own. It may be read as disruption in job as well. On the 6th day, there is destruction of everything. It can be related to material possessions or relations too. On 7th day, there can be beginning of serious issues related to physical body and even person's social reputation. Onset of some new illness or aggravated pains is indicated here. If the swar flows the opposite of its natural rhythm for continuous 8 days, then there are chances that death visits you. The next verse, that is 84th verse, states Kalatraye dinanyashta vipritam yada vahet yada dusht phalam proktam kinchit nyunam tu shobhanam. It says, if the opposite swar flows on all 8 days during all the 3 periods of the day, then the result is bad, but even a slight irregularity in it is considered as good. So far, Shiv Swarodaya gives us understanding of what is the result when the opposite morning swar flows for 8 days. Now it is giving us finer points to consider. This verse states that if the swar is opposite what it should be for all 3 periods of the day, that is morning, afternoon and evening, then it should be considered 100% bad without any doubts. But in the same breath, it also says that if even a slight variation in the swar is observed, it should be treated as good. What is this slight variation? This variation can be at 2 levels. Let me share the first variation. To understand this, you should keep in mind that to have exact results as stated in Shiv Swarodaya, the flow of swar should be complete. It means when lunar swar is active, there should be almost no movement in the right nostril. A person should be breathing only from the left nostril. You must have noticed that many times the swar seems to be strong in one nostril and there is some flow in other nostril too. This type of movement of swar cannot give you complete results. If not, then the bad results shall be mellowed down. The second variation is that in between you find that your correct swar starts flowing even for few minutes. This means the occasional rising of correct swar is happening. It is also indication of toned down results. If suffering becomes less, it should be treated as good. Only therefore word shobhanam or good is used to indicate results. Needless to say that to be sure about the results the rise of swar indicates, you have to be very disciplined and persistent in your Swar Yog practices. Continue with all the sadhana aspects, the basic and advanced practices that you have learnt in the 7-week-long Swar Yog workshop. Further, keeping a continuous check on the flow of your swar is one of the most critical activity of your Swar Yog sadhana. That's all for today. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I bow down to the divine sitting in your hearts. Shivoham.